We read the Torah not just for purposes of learning what has happened, but for insight into human nature. I think this is why Torah is Torah, not for stories about the past, but for stories for insight into our present. This week, of course, we read in the beginning of the book of Exodus of the Israelites' descent into slavery, which is dealt with in incredibly few words. What is the central motif of much of Jewish life for thousands of years? The descent into slavery and the coming up out of slavery. The descent is passed over relatively quickly, right? Joseph's in Egypt. He brought the people there because he was a ruler. And then it just says that Joseph and his generation died. Then a new king arose over Egypt, who didn't know Joseph. He says, look, the people of the children of Israel, this is the first time the Israelites are called an people. Of course, before Jews and Judaism were known as a religion, or were known as Jews, they were known as an a people. Ravatu mimenu, they're too numerous for us. Let's be smart about this, lest they increase more, and if a war happens, that they'll rise up and they'll side with our enemies and fight against us and rise up from the earth. This is an incredible thing. It doesn't say the Israelites did anything wrong. It just says they're different, and there were many, and the Pharaoh, instead of saying there's numerous people in our midst will be a great ally for us if there's a war, or we can bring them to our side so that they fight alongside us if there's a war, or even though they may not be like us or loyal to us, we'll ferret out the ones who are disloyal and live with the others. Goes negative right away. Doesn't say there's any reason for it, merely that he says, let's be smart about this, and that you should distrust, it seems, people who are different. And of course, and then the next line is that they impose labors and begin the process of enslavement of the Israelites. Of course, you know the result, that the Pharaoh's sense of let's be smart about this and press them down causes them exactly to rise up. It has the opposite of his intended effect. This is what we should be wary of. We should be wary of those who say the smart way is to divide and oppress and look for ways to try and build together. It's not simple. There are people who wish our society ill, and they should be focused on and ferreted out, because the essence of what Pharaoh does here is the racist move, right? So putting all people under an umbrella. All of the people of the children of Israel are suspect. Not the ones who are acting suspect or the ones that we have reason to think, but all of them as a class. That essence of racism is what we have to watch out for. That is the Pharaoh move. That is what leads to both oppression and people rising up, and we are the ones who are supposed to know better than that. Shabbat Shalom.